Lyn, what brought you to Moora?
So we moved here in the year 2002 onto this property. We had sold our farm in Perendery and we were looking for what we were going to do. And we originally thought about buying a business in Perth. But urban life, it was crowded, it was busy, we didn't know our neighbours, and we missed the country communities that we had grown up in and also the country communities that we'd lived in with our children and family growing up. So we thought, all right, we'll get a job in a country town, and an opportunity came up to work on a farm, which is now Moora Citrus Farm. Neville went there as farm manager, and I, being a school teacher, I managed to get a job at St Joseph's School.
Oh,
so I was teaching kindergarten to start with, and St Joseph's was just a magical place. And it was interesting, he also then got work being a real estate agent. It was an interesting relationship being a farm manager rather than a farmer managing your own property. The owner and Neville agreed to disagree, and we went and moved into town. We rented a house and we're thinking, what are we going to do now? Neville, being a real estate manager, found that this property where we live now was up for sale. It's only a small holding, so there was 1,000 acres there, and I was a bit sceptical. I don't really know that I really thought that I wanted to go back farming. And then I went walking one day, so I like walking in the morning, and so I walked up past and I thought, oh, looks rather good. So we bought it. We thought we would farm just a little bit, and then Neville has always had a passion for farming, and I come from an agricultural background and I love farming too. Between us both, we had opportunity to lease other land and we had opportunity to share farm other land. 250 hectares, now we 3,000 hectares.
So just a little bit of farming then.
Yeah, just a little bit of farming.
What do you feel like makes you the most proud about Moora?
I think because we've always lived in small country towns and we understand the importance of not only taking from the community as far as the facilities and the assets and things like that, but also giving back. So taking on roles within the community and guiding decision making. In the 2002, the government of that time, the state government at that time, there was a plan to renovate the Moora Hospital. So what happened, so this is where I'm really proud of this community Moora, because we are proactive. And the new government that was elected said, oh, we're not going to renovate it, we'll demolish it, and that's it. Moora doesn't have a hospital anymore. And the community stood up and they said, there's no way, we need a new hospital and you're going to build it to the state government. That funding was available. You cannot do this because Moora is the largest town in between Perth and Geraldton, which is a distance of 500 kilometres. So we draw people in from the coast, we draw people in from the northeast, you know, from the southwest, southeast and everything. So Moora is the largest town. So what happened then was there was a campaign to actually ensure that the hospital was built. So every time there was a political presentation, whatever, people from that committee, who was Save the Moora Hospital Committee, would go to that political meeting and they'd have banners and they would present the speaker with a crumbling brick from the Moora Hospital. They'd stand quietly, they didn't shout, yell. A new hospital was built in Moora in 2002. Then in 2018, the government that was elected again decided we have a residential college. So the residential college supports and houses those children who travel long distances to be able to come to school. So for people that live in cities, they don't understand that some children have a 90-minute journey every morning and every afternoon to get to school. The government at that time had no understanding, and the particular Minister for Education had no understanding. She said, it's an easy drive to go from Moora to Yanchep. We're building a new school there. And so we had a campaign, and of which I was very much a part of, which was Saving the Moora Residential College. And we did exactly the same as what they had done in 2002. So we had banners, we would go to political meetings. Our campaign was the education for country children matters more so than what they do in Perth, because we don't have the opportunities here and that whole array of subjects that Perth students are able to get, and you know, the opportunity of choice in schools. We don't have that here. So you need to have the very best education you can. And to remove the residential college, which at that time had 33 students, would have meant that Central Midlands Senior High School would have been downgraded from a senior high school to a district high school, so you would only have up to year 10. So the impact of that would mean that families would move away. Straight away, families would move away. They can't get their high schooling here. Families would move, so of course that affects our businesses. So, you know, that whole...
It's a domino effect.
The whole domino effect of everything. And so this campaign was amazing. We even had somebody go, and in Perth there is a pier where there's a girl diving off there.
Yes.
She was wrapped in Save Moora Residential College in a banner,
cool.
and banners across the freeway, suspended off of things, and it was an amazing campaign. Our council at that time, and I was part of it, actually went to a federal local government meeting, and they met with politicians and bureaucrats over there, and the federal government provided the funding to refurbish the residential college because it had been built in the 1970s and it was very tired and run down, and so they provided the state government with the money, and they refurbished it, and we've got a residential college that's been revamped, and we've still got, I think, 38 students there now. I'm not quite sure of the numbers, but what a campaign, and it's invigorating. And I think the thing is, I'm so grateful to live here because we have those facilities, and I think we need to practice that gratitude. We have so much here in this town. The Moora Gardner Street Arts Collective, they offer so much opportunity for people to do workshops, to engage with the creative side, the artistic side of things. And of course, we've got our sporting clubs, the Moora Football Club. The Moora Mavericks Football Club now was football only initially, but now they actually have netball and football as well in the winter time. And then, of course, we've got the tennis club, we've got the pool. And the pool at the moment is undergone a major revamp, and it's a 50-metre pool, which not many towns have. And so we've got students that have done, or kids that have been a part of the swim club that have done really, really well in regional competitions and things like that. So, there's so much here. I think there's been a draw of people to go to Perth because it's so convenient. But I think people also need to understand, for our community to survive and move into the future, you need to be a contributor, not a taker. You've got to be able to give to those community organisations, not just sort of say and complain and sort of say, it's boring, step up.
I think the message definitely is, from what we've just talked about, if you perhaps are watching this and you feel like you don't have what you want to have in Moora, or you feel like there's a call for you to go to a city area, then you need to stand up and you need to paint that vision to everyone else so that people can band together and make sure that it happens in Moora.
And I mean, our local government is open. They have grant systems, so they can help you find the funding that you might need to sort of begin things, to start things. There are people that you can reach out to for support. And certainly the Rotary Club and the Moora Lions Club are volunteer organisations. There is also moora.com.au where you can look to see what other organisations and clubs and things like that are there. And I can honestly say, I did look at a list some time ago, but we've got many, many volunteer organisations that would just love you to come on board and assist and help in some way.
These country towns, they are built by the community and the people that live in them.
Yes.
And it feels like you can really take it in a direction that is best for everyone within that. That's what you touched on, giving back to the community and getting involved in it, in volunteering, is really important for that, especially for future generations, because then they can create the more that they see and the vision that they feel is right for them and the life that they want to build. So what kind of volunteering has really been the most fulfilling for you?
I think we're fortunate because Neville, my husband, and I both work within the community in a volunteer role. And the very first organisation that we joined, I mean, obviously in a school community, you're going to get to know parents and you're going to get to know families and you're going to get to know what's happening, as far as swimming clubs or tennis clubs or those sorts of sporting facilities. I think we joined the tennis club. That was the first thing. And then Neville joined the Rotary Club of Moora. And at that time, the Rotary Club, and it still is, it's a really great organisation. And it opened our eyes. And the thing is, you're not isolated in a small country town because Rotary is international. And so we hosted 3 Brazilian girls that actually came and lived in our town and went to the high school. Other organisations that would come and live in our community just for a short period of time, but to actually reach out to what's happening internationally as well as nationally through Rotary was a really great learning curve. We built some fabulous relationships with the people in the club and with people that we met through the Rotary Club. And I'm also secretary for the Moora Frail Age Lodge Committee at the moment. That opportunity to be able to support and give and help others. With the Frail Age Lodge, that is an incredible story. So in the 1980s, there were many, many people, as they got old and frail, they were unable to stay in their own homes and there was nowhere for them to go. So generally they were relocated to Perth. And of course, they missed that connection with family. So a group of people came together. There was about 10 of them that came together and sort of said, well, let's raise funds and build a facility where people can stay. So we are truly blessed that we have a facility that's got 15 rooms, of which 2 are respite care rooms, so 13 rooms in this lodge. And thanks to the hard work of those people that sort of saw an issue or a problem and addressed it. So rather than sort of cry and moan and groan and say the government needs to spend more money, these people actually, pulled on that burden, organised to have the land. They acquired land through the Shire of Moora, through the federal government, raised funds to build the structure that was the original kitchen and catering area, as well as accommodation. Over time, they got more funding to build on more rooms and more rooms and more rooms. So now they've got 15 separate rooms. And as well as that, there's a Delmore Centre, which is a centre where everybody can come and gather to play cards. So that's all part and parcel of all that funding. And it's many millions of dollars that was raised. And initially, that group actually staffed it too. They cooked the meals and they had supervisors that they employed supervisors to care for the residents overnight. And we're truly blessed to have that facility.
That's just so inspiring. If you want something, don't just sit around waiting for it. If you really want it and you can see the benefit of it helping everybody involved, then you can actually make a difference. What would you say to future generations who are wanting to get involved in volunteering, or maybe want something to happen or want some change to happen, but they don't see it happening yet? What would you say to them?
You can be proactive, of course you can. And if you've got like-minded people, you can come together and work through that whole process. But the thing is, you have to have a vision of what you want to see. You need to be able to paint that vision to other people to say, this is an issue, this is a problem, we need to address it. Let's sit down and work through that process.
So we definitely just need to get people signing up.
Yes, exactly. Bring it on.